Hi. Hey, we're live. This is Vaughn at Spirit of Health. We're doing our very first Q&A with Vaughn. We're super excited. Every week, we're going to do this Thursday at 1 o'clock. So join us live. We're always going to tell you ahead of time what the topic is so you can send in your questions, which I actually have a lot of questions for today. The topic today is hormone balancing. That's a fun topic. And, we got our new Eating by Design hormone guide out. I encourage you guys to check out that, but I wanted to answer some specific questions that people sent in related to hormone balancing. And again, next week will probably be a different topic, and I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but you will know because you'll get a Facebook post on it. So let's just get right into the questions here. And if you're watching and you want to send in a question live, you can do that too, but I'm going to probably address these questions first. All right, the first one is Karen Wallace Douglas says, I'm a singer. I just came back from the doctor who says my voice will never be the same due to vocal cord thinning due to menopause. Any advice for me? I thought about starting to use an estrogen cream. I need my voice. All right, so, I, of course, don't usually recommend estrogen creams because it's going to be synthetic. And there's a reason your body has low estrogen even post-menopause. So there are a couple things. If you look at our hormone balancing program, there are a few supplements we recommend for low estrogen, so you can definitely look into those. Minerals, especially ocean minerals, like the Biocean minerals, can be helpful for that. But what happens is the tissues thin when you have low estrogen. So one thing that you can do that is probably our favorite herb on the planet for helping to hydrate the tissues, and this can help with vaginal dryness or the thinning of the vocal cords or any kind of thinning dryness issues anywhere in the body, especially post-menopause, is good old Schisandra berry. Schisandra berry is one of the neatest herbs for women's hormone balancing in general. I would definitely recommend the Schisandra by Shin Blossom. It's a liquid. It's very potent, very powerful. It's one of those herbs that you take every day for like 3 months, and you notice after 3 months how you just feel totally different. Your skin is healthier. It should help, I would hope, with this voice issue. So look at the Schisandra by Shin Blossom. And also you might take Estrodim, which is a product by Orthomolecular, to help balance estrogen levels. A lot of times women post-menopause have low progesterone, low estrogen, and they have a lot of synthetic estrogens in their system. And so balancing the estrogens can be very helpful as well. So the Estrodim can help with that. The other just little tip I wanted to give you, especially if you're a singer, for your voice box, is sipping warm water throughout the day, especially like ginger and lemon tea, and just putting that in a thermos and sipping that all day long. That warm water is the best way to hydrate the tissues. And so that's something that can help as well. If all that doesn't work, you might want to look into doing a lymph cleanse, because when you're talking about this system here with the head, the throat, into the chest, the mucosal systems, a lot of times you have some lymphatic system blockage, and doing a lymph cleanse can also clear a lot of that out, especially if you have some mucus or something going on in there. So I hope that helps you with that. Christina Gumat, one of our good buddies in Iowa. I've known Christina for many, many years. She says, I went into surgical menopause at 17. What advice would you give this 56-year-old? I've had this conversation many times with women, and if you've had your main organs removed, as far as like ovaries especially, but if you've had any kind of hysterectomy or even partial hysterectomy, you're still producing hormones. So you have to understand where those hormones are being produced, and those hormones are mainly being produced in your adrenal glands. So I really think the best thing you can do to support your hormones, if that happens to you, is to support your adrenal glands. So look at the hormone guide and all the products we recommend for low adrenal function. I would encourage an adrenal building product, which would be like the Adaptogen Power Blend or the Great Adapter if you'd rather do a capsule by Jing Herbs. Those will build and strengthen the adrenals over time. I like the Endocrine Balance formula by Dr. Morse, because what it does is it supports the entire endocrine system. It's a great herbal formula to support adrenals, thyroid, pituitary, and the entire system. So really that's it. I would just really, really support the adrenals and the thyroid, support the glands you have left, but again, especially the adrenals, because you still produce steroid hormones. You still produce estrogen and progesterone and those hormones. It's just that you're at a disadvantage when you don't have your ovaries helping you with that. And so you need to really take care of your adrenals. You can watch classes I did on the adrenals. So you really need to stay away from sugar and caffeine, and make sure you're supporting your adrenals with good sea salt and a lot of mineral-rich foods and sunshine and all kinds of things that are good for the adrenal glands. Getting lots of sleep. All right, so Paul Jesse. Recommendations for someone who has been slowly losing weight and can't gain weight. There's a lot of talk about weight loss, but for some, they struggle with weight gain. Yes, amen. I almost did a whole hour-long class on this because this is partially my issue too. You can see I'm very thin, and I could probably have 10, 15 more pounds on me easily. So what I always tell people is if you're excessively thin, if you can't gain weight, there's always, 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 always a reason for it. It's not just, and the answer is never eating lots of sugars and starches and carbs. I mean, anybody can eat bread and pasta every day for a week, gain 10 pounds, and you're going to feel so miserable, you're not going to know what to do with yourself. So obviously just eating more food is not the answer. It's finding out why you're thin and how to get your body healthy so you can gain the weight back. I'm going to give you 3 main reasons. I'm not saying there's not more than this, but the 3 I know. One would be malabsorption. So if you have a leaky gut issue, if you're not absorbing and digesting your foods properly, that can absolutely be a cause of, it basically leads to malnutrition and you're thin. And again, it's not because you're not eating enough food or the right foods, it's because there's a leaky gut problem. There's a malnutrition issue. So you want to fix your leaky gut. You want to do lots of minerals and vitamins and different things that your body's missing. The second reason I would say is liver gallbladder. If you look at the symptoms of liver gallbladder disease, you think of how many people get their gallbladders removed and all the gallstones. I've had a lot of liver gallbladder issues. So when that whole system's all gummed up, weight loss, unexplained weight loss, is actually one of the symptoms of a very, very congested, blocked up system. And then the third one is going to be, and probably the most serious one, and one I see the most, and I probably want to highlight this, and you'll probably hear me talking a lot more about this, is when people have infectious issues. So yeast, candida, fungus, mold. If you've ever seen anyone who had cancer that was severe, you'll usually notice that they're extremely thin and they're cold all the time. And it's because what's happened is the body's so coated with mucus and infectious disease that the body's completely gummed up. So you're not digesting anything, you're not absorbing anything. The infections in your body are robbing your body of any nutrition you might get, and parasites would fit that category. So you really want to maybe get tested to see if you have any yeast, fungus, mold, parasite issues. We do some lab testing for that. You can go somewhere local, see if they can check that stuff. But those would be the 3 main reasons. Again, there could be more, but there's a reason you're thin and you can't gain weight. So you really want to go after working on those things, trying to discover which one of those it might be. All right, Ann Rizzo. Oh, Mike and Ann Rizzo, we love them. When the 29-day challenge is complete, is it necessary to continue taking the supplements recommended for our particular hormone deficiency in order to keep this hormone in balance? I would say that depends. So it's a great question. I don't ideally want people to be dependent on supplements their whole life. There's a couple of ways to look at this. One is, let's say you've changed your diet, you've done some cleansing, you're feeling amazing, but you're taking Thyroid Thrive. What I always say is, stop taking it for a while and see how you feel. And if you still feel amazing and you don't need it, that's a bonus. I sell supplements, but I certainly don't want people to take supplements their whole life. My whole heart is that we would have freedom, and that when we have health in our body and our body's working the way God designed it, we have freedom from anything, pharmaceutical or relying on supplements. So really the best thing is if you're feeling amazing, taper it down or cut it out, give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and see how you feel, and then you can know. I see this a lot with medications. I see women on hormone replacement therapy, and we work on their adrenals, we work on their thyroid, and they start to reduce their medications, and they're like, I still feel great. I don't need the medication. Whereas before, they would stop the medication, they'd feel horrible, and their mood swings and hormones would be all over the place. So you got to do the right things to get your hormones, your glandular system to work right. But yeah, ideally, you don't need them long term. I think I was going to say something else on that. And I was just going to say the other way to look at it is just think of these things as food. Herbs are food. We see garlic as a food. We should see schisandra berries as a food. We should see elderberry as a food. So there's no reason not to take a good hormone balancing formula like the Adaptogen Power Blend that's got maca and ashwagandha and astragalus and all these amazing herbs and plants in it, and just treat it like a food. Make it a normal part of your daily life. Don't make it like, oh, I'm taking this for my hormone balancing. Like, I'm taking this because it's good for my life, just like you eat fruits and vegetables. So that's another way to look at it, is just take a good hormone balancing formula long term and just see it as a part of a normal, healthy diet / program, but you're doing specific herbs that support the hormones. So I think that's a smart way to do it too. Riley Thompson said, can doing a Daniel's fast with just raw fruits and vegetables, no fat or concentrated proteins, negatively impact hormones if you have thyroid and adrenal issues? That's a good question. It really depends on where your body's at and when your health is at. So this is one thing I always tell people, and I believe it to be true. The more you can fast, the longer you can go without food, the more it's an indicator that your body's more stable, more healthy, and your hormones are more balanced. So in other words, if you have low blood sugars and you have low blood pressure and you have to eat every couple of hours and you're using food as a constant way to keep your body going, there's a problem. And so there could be a weakness in your endocrine system, your hormonal system, there could be some congestion issues. And so you don't want to rely on eating food every couple of hours just to survive. Now, if you do eat raw fruits and vegetables and you feel weak, tired, dizzy, lethargic, your blood pressure drops, you feel like you're going to black out, be careful. Like, that's not good. So you want to add in some plant-based protein, some Vega protein, some lentils or a good lentil soup or something that gives you some proteins and some starch. Maybe a little bit of a healthy fats as part of your Daniel fast. Maybe a little olive oil to give you that more sustained energy throughout the day. And that's fine. That's fine. You can still be on a healing program and eat a little fats and proteins to maintain your blood sugars. If you've ever had an eating disorder in the past, be very cautious with fasting because it can trigger old emotions and different issues. So just be cautious with it. But I just want people to understand that as an indicator, you should, let me just say it this way, you should be able to eat raw fruits and vegetables and feel great and do it for an extended period of time. And if you can't, there's a reason and there's something going on. So hope that helps. Let's see, April Grace. I have very easily taken meat and most fats out of my diet. My biggest problems are the flour-based foods, but I have been gluten-free for years. But she's talking more rice, corn, potato, etc. And sweets and sugars. I can tell a difference when I eat the way Vaughn is describing in the video. I think it was my weight loss video. But it's hard to maintain. Are there any tips and tricks anyone has found to help them in this journey to better health and cleaner eating? So I'm going to highlight a couple things here. One is have a plan. Have a plan, have a plan, have a plan. That plan's different for everybody. I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. I just talked to a gal today and I said, here's a great plan. Skip breakfast. You don't need it. Most people don't need it. Unless you're super active in the morning, it's a way to fast and just have a juice, just have a piece of fruit. Keep it very light in the morning. And then if you eat at 6 o'clock the night before and then you eat again at noon, you just fasted 18 hours. So that's a very healthy way to do some intermittent fasting and to stick to a plan or stick to a program. So what I find probably helps the most is cleansing. So a lot of people will do good on staying away from certain foods for a period of time. And then a lot of times when they start to eat again, the cravings come back and they start to desire and crave those foods again, especially the sugars and starches. So I've seen cleansing be hugely helpful. So in other words, the more clean the system is, the more highly efficient the factory is working. So your body's an energy factory. So if you exercise to start your morning, you'll have energy and you'll feel good and you won't feel like you need coffee or sugar or a donut. Because even though that gives you temporary energy, it comes with a crash. So anybody who exercises intentionally in the morning knows that they feel so good and they have so much energy, they don't need anything else. So exercise in the morning, cleanse, do a colon cleanse, do a lymph cleanse. Cravings disappear when people cleanse. When you get toxins and waste and poisons and junk out of your body, the sugar cravings disappear. So I think that's where a lot of people fall short, and it's all about diet change. I always love to say that nutrition and a diet change is your first step in getting better, because the real reason people aren't well is they need to cleanse and remove some of the toxins from their body. And again, that frees up resources to have more energy. And if they can work out and they can support their hormonal system like the adrenals and thyroid and have energy, then you'll notice you don't need the food as a crutch. You won't need the sugar and the carbs as a quick temporary fix. So just try that. Try not eating breakfast, having a juice or a piece of fruit, but also exercising in the morning on top of it. Make lunch ideally your biggest meal. Keep dinner light, like a soup or salad or something like that, and support your hormones. And do a colon cleanse or something and see how you feel. You might find that those cravings disappear. So, Deborah McLean, how do you know which balancing supplement to take? I used to have hot flashes, but I don't have them much anymore. Slight chin hairs bother me. Maybe hormones can correct that. Would hormone balancing help with fatigue? I was working on my thyroid and weight management for that. So yeah, absolutely on the fatigue. I mean, thyroid would be the obvious one with metabolism, body temperature, anything related to weight and weight loss. Thyroid seems to be the missing link for a lot of women. So just start simple, the Thyroid Thrive, and add in the Modiphelin or the Exidine, the liquid iodine, one of those two, not necessarily both. I really like the Thyroid Thrive for that. When you're talking chin hairs and women having dominance in testosterone and different issues like that, I really feel like the root of that is a congested lymphatic system. So, women have testosterone just like men, but if that testosterone gets trapped in the system and the highway's clogged up because your lymph is blocked, then the testosterone builds up and stays in the system. And that can cause those testosterone symptoms. And a lot of women, again, know that just, from the hair growth. So I would say do a lymph cleanse. So I would say support your thyroid, do a lymph cleanse. There's herbs called DHT blockers that help with excessive testosterone. We have a formula called Restore by Herbally Grounded that has saw palmetto in it. Saw palmetto is a natural DHT blocker. So you might try that as well, just to help with balancing hormones and to help with the testosterone issue if you just want a supplement to try. So that'd probably be it for that. Rachel Foster. What hormone imbalance can be linked to fibromyalgia-like symptoms and swelling? Very simply, I just kind of wrote on my sheet, not. Fibromyalgia isn't a hormone imbalance. Fibromyalgia is a chronic toxicity condition. So if you have fibromyalgia, you have yeast, fungus, candida, mold, you have heavy metal toxicity, you have chemical toxins. I'm not saying you have them all, but there's some type of toxicity causing the major muscle problems. So if you want to think about what fibromyalgia is, it's the buildup of fibrinolytic tissue in the muscles. What is fibrin? It's a protein structure. Why does it build up in the muscles? It's because it's building up scar tissue in the muscles because the muscles are damaged. So an over-acidic body breaks down the muscles in the body. The body's trying to repair it by building up fibrin or scar tissue. And as that scar tissue accumulates over time, you have fibromyalgia. This is not a hormone imbalance. So you need to cleanse. That would be number one. Eat an alkaline diet. Do a kidney cleanse and a lymph cleanse. They're on our website under cleanses and programs. The number one thing that can help you with fibromyalgia symptoms are enzymes, systemic enzymes. So Nepronol is a product I've used for years for fibromyalgia, and they've done a double-blind placebo studies that showed within 6 months of taking Nepronol, 93% of people had zero symptoms of fibromyalgia. The reason is because these enzymes, these proteolytic enzymes, break down the fibrin buildup scar tissue between the muscles. And if you can break that stuff down, the pain will start to go away. So take Nepronol. There's another really good enzyme by a company called US Enzymes, and it's called Therazyme. And Therazyme is their systemic enzyme formula. Either one will work. I love them both. So that would be my answer for that. Eat a clean diet, eat alkaline, cleanse your kidneys and lymph, and start taking systemic enzymes by the handful. So I'm kind of joking, but I'm being serious. You take 2 twice a day, that's basic maintenance. I'll have people take up to 8, 10, 12 a day if you want to break down scar tissue and you want to get out of fibromyalgia pain. So, Sarah Jane Roberts. Started increasing my iodine, first with kelp and then Lugol's iodine about 9 months ago. First I felt great. I started gaining weight. My appetite increased. I began getting cherry angiomas in different spots on the body. I recently quit taking it, believing that my body couldn't keep up with the detox of bromides and fluoride. From what I researched, perhaps I need to heal my adrenal glands first. Your insight would be greatly appreciated. I don't have a great answer for you, and I don't know if it's directly related to the iodine, but if you do have a toxicity, like a chemical or a heavy metal toxicity, I would get it checked out. I would do a hair metals test. I would do a urine analysis to check chemical toxins. We do those through Great Plains Laboratory, or you can find somebody local. Find out if you have a major toxicity issue, because if you do, you want to work on detoxing those chemicals and poisons out of your body. You want to get in a sauna. You want to do some type of chlorella, cilantro-based products, like we love the NDF by BioRay. It's a micronized chlorella. It increases the surface area of the chlorella, and it binds metals and toxins and chemicals in the body. So you probably do want to do a chemical detox or a heavy metal detox maybe first. So I would get tested, see what kind of toxicity issues you have going on. Cleansing while taking herbs like clay and charcoal and chlorella and cilantro and just different herbs that detox the body is going to bind some of those toxins. And you're right, maybe the iodine is causing a detox, because iodine can definitely do that. And if your system's blocked up and congested, your lymph's blocked and congested, you're swelling. You mentioned swelling. I mean, if your lymph's blocked up and your body's trying to detox and your lymph's not clean, you're going to get swelling. So do a lymph cleanse, check for toxicity, and take some things that start to remove chemicals and metals and toxins from the body. Last one, Kathy Leggett Dupe. I hope I said that right, dupe or dupe, if you're French, I don't know. Can you explain what differentiates low estrogen from low progesterone? A lot of the symptoms seem to be the same. I'm low estrogen. Should I take all the supplements or start with one and then add on? Is the goal to ultimately take them all? How long should I give the protocol to work? Is it okay to take the Maca Life with other products for low estrogen? Can you infuse multiple herbs into one drink? Are there herbs that should not be used together for hormone balancing? Thank you so much for your continued contribution to the health and well-being for all. You're welcome. We do our best. That's a lot of questions. Yes, it's hard to know if you have low estrogen or low progesterone. Honestly, if you want to know accurately, you'd get a saliva hormone test done. You spit in a tube, you send it to the lab, and it will very clearly and accurately tell you where your estrogen and progesterone levels are at. It's not a bad thing to do, because a lot of women have low progesterone, but they're estrogen dominant, and because they have synthetic estrogens in their body. And you want to know that, because if you just go off symptoms alone, again, it's not a perfect program just based off of symptoms alone. So I would definitely do a saliva test, find out for sure. If you're low estrogen and that's what your results were, I still love the Schisandra above all else. I just think it's the number one best herb for women for hormones. It's the beauty herb that's been used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years for beauty. I think it was Hannah that started taking it. Basic, right? And her skin is like amazing, like glowing, taking Schisandra. And she does other stuff too, but I think the Schisandra made a difference. So I would definitely recommend the Schisandra by Shin Blossom. The Maca Life, absolutely, it's a great product. You talk about taking them all. No, your goal is not to take them all. Your goal is to take a couple and find out what works. So I would say I'm always a fan of minerals. So like the Biocean minerals, I say is an absolute for anybody. I love those. I would definitely take the Schisandra for all that it does. And then maybe you mentioned the Maca Life. So that would be great, because the Ocean, everybody can use the minerals. The Schisandra is going to be good for any women for hormones. And then the Maca Life is a very specific product for women who are going through the quote-unquote change, who are going through menopause. And then Maca Pause is the product for post-menopause. And so yeah, I would definitely do multiple products if you can. As far as herbs that should not be used for hormone balancing together, I don't think it really matters. I mean, what I always tell people is that God made you. God made these herbs and plants. And so your body knows what to do with these herbs when they enter the body, just like it does fruits and vegetables and other foods. So if it needs it, it's going to use it. If it doesn't need it, it's going to get rid of it. There's no negative side effects to it. It doesn't matter if you combine different things together. But obviously when you take synthetic, man-made pharmaceutical hormones, they never can get the dosage right. They're playing with it all the time. Every month they're changing your formula because you're putting a synthetic in your body, and God didn't design you to use synthetics. And so it's always a guessing game with those synthetic hormones. So yeah, I think, again, like I said before, you can treat them as food, put multiple things in the body that are great for hormone balancing, especially the Schisandra. I love all the maca-based products. But if you really want to be serious about knowing what's going on, do the saliva test. So that was all the questions. So did we have anybody chime in live?
Not really. No?
Awesome. Well, God bless you. Thanks for listening to this video on hormone balancing, and we'll see you next Thursday at 1 o'clock.